We've got Mr. Jeromy Sullivent on the line. Jeromy is the president of the Arkansas Dog Hunters Association. Jeromy, thanks for coming on, sir.
Good morning, Paul. How are you?
Doing well. Just want to remind everyone this portion of the program brought to you by the great Patriots of Act 746. We certainly are glad that those folks are on a mission to educate Arkansans about their gun rights, specifically constitutional carry, and the idea that Act 746 decriminalizes possession of a weapon here in the state. And, Jeromy, I know that you're certainly familiar with the great work that the Patriots of Act 746 are doing.
You bet. Great group of folks.
All right. So can you tell us, Jeromy, tell us a little bit about what the Arkansas Dog Hunters Association, what are you guys up to these days?
Well, we're scouring the state right now trying to help political candidates. We have a campaign drive for Representative Kim Hammer kicking off this Saturday in Prattsville. 2 weeks ago, we had Jan Morgan speak at our event down in Hope. We'll also have her speak over into September in Fordyce at an event that we're having.
Yeah, okay. If you can, Jeromy, try to speak. If you speak into the microphone, or we're losing you a little bit. So the Jan Morgan event, how was that? And was it well received?
It was wonderful, Paul. I think people. My group of guys they're ready for a change. We're tired of seeing out of control state agencies and out of control government. We're ready for a change.
So, remind our audience. So, how big? I mean, the Arkansas Dog Hunters Association. How large is this organization? What kind of reach do you guys have?
Well, right now we have about 4,000 members. We actually it's called the Arkansas Dog Hunters Association, but we incorporate. The Arkansas Trappers Association, the Arkansas Breeders Association, they all came in under our umbrella. We're pet owners, we're hunting dog owners, but basically we're Arkansans. Mm-hmm. We want to see some things change.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Let's talk a little bit about the Arkansas Game and Fish. I'm sure that you guys. Are familiar with, their regulatory authority. I mean, I think that's certainly an understatement, right?
Well, that is correct. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people at the Game and Fish Commission that are wonderful folks. That's from the director down. So anytime a government agency gets unlimited funding and unlimited manpower, you have problems.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about the hog situation here in Arkansas before, right?
That's correct.
Can you just one more time give us kind of a rundown about what's going on, maybe what other states are doing and what Arkansas is not doing again?
Well, Arkansas right now has a transportation ban that was put in place back in 2013. There were actually 4 high-fit facilities that they grandfathered in to be able to sell kill hunt. Since then, they put all of those guys out of business. They quit selling them tags to run their operation, and those guys are no longer in business. What I am pushing for in the state of Arkansas is a open transport with USDA slaughter facilities here in Arkansas. A lot of people do not know that Asia and China and European countries, that feral hog meat is a high commodity. They want
the meat. So you're saying China and Europe actually they eat the meat. They want it.
Yeah, that is correct. The trade embargo that President Trump went over and talked to the Chinese people about opened up the beef market for direct transport from Arkansas to China. But it also opened up the feral hog market directly to China.
Okay.
There is a USDA operator that has an order for 20 shipping containers. That's over 40,000 pounds of feral hog meat.
So, all right. So we have other states that are going to participate and already are participating in this new market. But Arkansans, so we got feral hogs here. It's a problem, but Arkansans are not able. We can't do this because of a game and fish regulation, right? We can't get access to this market.
Well, actually not a Game and Fish Commission regulation.
Okay.
This is a legislature law that was passed in 2013. The Game and Fish Commission has been entrusted to, to police that law, and they've made regulations, as has the Arkansas Department of Livestock and Poultry.
Okay. So essentially, and look, I mean, property owners everywhere who are listening to this, I mean, they believe that, these feral hogs it's a situation. It's a dangerous situation in a lot of ways because they just destroy everything. But do you think it's better left up to the people to try to?
That is exactly right.
Okay.
I think the public should be entrusted in taking care of. Now, here's the thing: the Game and Fish Commission can still manage their WMAs and all of the property that they have, by all means. But like down in Texas, and also Oklahoma, the game departments are actually selling to these USDA facilities also. It's zero liability to the taxpayer to do this. It's free. It's a free market capitalist system. If the guy comes in and opens up a slaughter facility and he doesn't make it, he goes out of business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it doesn't cost the taxpayer a dime.
That's exactly right. There's just not a lot of people talking about this issue, and and I'm glad you're talking about it. And I had no idea that there was actually a law in 2013 that's actually preventing, the free market from taking hold here with a wildlife problem. It's an issue. So instead of relying on a government agency to enforce it, I think we need to make some changes and do things differently. We're talking with Jeromy Sullivent. He is the president of the Arkansas Dog Hunters Association. So Jeromy, speaking of the game and fish, we have this chronic wasting disease that's going through the deer herd here. It's been reports where they find it in 2 or 3 more counties. What do you know about this?
I think it's all smoke and mirrors, Paul. I think we've had chronic wasting disease in the state of Arkansas for quite some time now. I think just like the feral hog problem, any time that a state agency can put fear into the public, they get they write more regulations and get a little bit more control over the population. CWD is just it's a natural culling process. It happens with every animal in the state. It will eventually happen to the feral hogs if the feral hog population gets to a point where it can't sustain itself. There will be a natural culling process, and the feral hogs will, they'll kill themselves off, basically with a disease or something else.
Smoke and mirrors. See, I have thought the same thing, and it's because I went to, I guess, when they first said that they had found it in Pope County or wherever they found it, they had meetings all across the state, and so I went to one of them, and I was sitting in there and I was listening, and I just didn't. If I'm honest, I'm just being honest. I just didn't get the feeling that the people giving me the information knew what they were talking about. I just, I just had this. I was like, I don't think you guys really even know what you're talking about. I don't think in some cases we, really even know. I mean, I know they think it's spread with saliva, and that's why they came out with a new regulation saying, you can't use corn on private land after December 31st, which is, by the way, when the animals need it the most. I mean, it's freezing outside. It's like 0 degrees. Right. And it's like, okay, well, if saliva can transmit the disease, what are we going to have? Deer, or what about when the deer mate? I mean, is it going to spread then too? I would think that the answer is yes. How are we going to control that? How are we going to control the natural breeding process? It just seems like you said, smoke and mirrors, and I can't help but think it's maybe designed to, I don't know, maybe increase the regulatory authority on people who have private land. What are your thoughts on that?
That would surprise me. I mean, any time that that a state agency or government itself could come up with a problem or a scare tactic, it's a great way for them to get funding and also write regulations. You see it all, with any state agency. If the Arkansas Health Department finds something that the West Nile virus or something, they take it and run with it. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to get funding.
Yeah. And let's be clear here. Like you said, they're good people at the Arkansas Game and Fish. Okay,
Sure.
I think the skepticism that we're talking about is a very healthy American skepticism to have when it comes to things, agencies who have power. Now, on that, generally speaking, kind of backing off of this, what do you think generally about the authority that the Game and Fish has? Do you think that there's a way for them to still, do, I guess, accomplish part of their mission but have less authority? Do you think they maybe have too much authority? I mean, some people say, I've talked to legislators off the record or anonymously, and they'll tell me, gosh, we really need to do something about the Game and Fish's authority, but they don't want to even mention it publicly until they have locked down the support of all the other legislators that they need, because they know it will be a giant battle if we ever try to rein in their authority. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, their authority is trying. There's been politicians in the past that tried.
Hang on one second, Jeromy. You broke up a little bit. Can you start over? Go ahead.
There have been people in the past that have tried to rein in the Game and Fish Commission, and politicians fold like a deck of cards. Basically, whenever when the Game and Fish Commission they try to hold their funding, a lot of people do not know, but in our Arkansas Constitution, the Game and Fish Commission was never meant to be a law enforcement division of the state. They were only to take care of the wildlife in the state. Since then, there have been regulations and laws passed that have given them law enforcement authority. And if the Game and Fish Commission wants to be a law enforcement authority, I think that they should have to, follow criminal code.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of their people do not.
Yeah. Well, and of course, you did have that Supreme Court ruling, that really hurt their authority when it comes to checking, your papers and stuff without probable cause. And they didn't like that at all, because it really did hurt their autonomy. Imagine that, the United States Constitution and the Fourth Amendment hurting the Arkansas Game and Fish. I know what side that I want to be on, but that's interesting. So there have been times where the legislators have tried and they fold like a deck of cards. Why do they fold like a deck of cards? Do you know?
Well, the Game and Fish Commission, they have a lot of youth programs across the state.
Youth programs.
As soon as the legislature starts holding budgets and talking about reining in the Game and Fish Commission, the Game and Fish Commission starts pulling funding for youth programs. And then you have a lot of upset mothers and stuff call these politicians, and they basically fold up.
Wow. Okay. Hey, I didn't know that. So they fund all these youth programs, so then they'll start pulling the funding. So basically, oh my gosh, I'm going to say this. This is what a Democrat would say. A Democrat, or let me say, somebody who really wants to demagogue, they would say they're holding our kids' youth programs hostage in order to protect their authority. But that's very interesting, Jeromy. I had no idea about that. Well, maybe. And I'm not going to hold my breath, but maybe in the future, the General Assembly will do something to address, the authority that they do have. And like you said, if they are a law enforcement agency, maybe actually clarify that they are, instead of, what you said in the Constitution, they were never meant to be a law enforcement agency. So it's very interesting stuff. And Jeromy Sullivent, I do appreciate you coming on the program, sir.
You bet, Paul. Thank you for having me.
All righty. Have a good morning. Folks, good morning to you out there. We're going to take a